After a volatile retail earnings week, the group now heads into its next big test, where the demand holds up beyond Black Friday. Courtney Reagan joins us now with much more on what to expect. Hey, Court.
Hi, Frank. So the next 5 days are the most important stretch of the year for retail. Adobe says 17% of total online holiday spending will happen during Cyber Week. But physical stores remain a big part of the equation, too. The National Retail Federation predicts 186.9 million Americans will shop in some form between Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday. That's more than ever before by their estimation. Now, shoppers tell Deloitte they'll spend about 60% of their budget online and 40% in stores over these next 5 days. Most retailers are not opening stores on Thanksgiving Day, but will offer doorbusters online. So Adobe expects online sales to grow 5% on Thursday. And even with the rise in online shopping, Black Friday still matters. It's forecast to be the biggest in-store shopping day of the year, according to traffic counting firms Insermatic and Retail Next, even if it's not as big as it once was. Adobe forecasts U.S. e-commerce sales will grow 8.3% on Black Friday from last Black Friday. And while Salesforce says Black Friday surpassed Cyber Monday in sales last year, and will again this year. So some debate, but it's still big. Retailers save deals for Cyber Monday, and consumers know it. Possibly the best discounts of the year for electronics, apparel, and computers, with total online sales expected to grow 6.3% on Cyber Monday. Now, consumers may feel less confident this holiday season based on economic surveys and what we've heard from consumer confidence, but they're still buying. According to many retail CEOs over the last 10 days, even if doing so choicefully, which is a word they're all using, particularly, the executives say, when there's perceived value. And in value, that's more than just price. For instance, Dick's Sporting Goods Executive Chairman Ed Stack says, when I'm talking about value, I'm talking about an item that also perhaps helps my performance if I'm an athlete. Frank?
All right, Courtney Reagan live from the NASDAQ. Courtney, thank you very much. Got quite a bit of retail ownership here, but Liz, I wanted to start with you. The consumer, we had a lot of questions about the consumer going into the holiday season. Bank of America out with a note saying last week we saw holiday spending up 4.5% year over year. Seems like a kind of bullish sign going into the holiday season.
Yeah, I mean, and Courtney's data shows us more bullish reasons to be excited about it. So I mentioned this at the top of the show that consumer discretionary has been one of the strongest sectors actually out of this volatility that we've just seen. And I think that that's a good sign. A lot of times you look at discretionary versus staples as a signal of cyclicality. We'll see what this holiday season holds. I imagine that there's going to be a lot of news about discounting and incentives and all of that. But into 26, again, expecting some stimulus, right? Expecting some tax refunds that are going up. I think the consumer has a chance here, and they're going to have to fight for it because we're still up against some inflationary pressures. But I think the consumer has a chance. So I wouldn't count it out. And discretionary and staples have been really poor performers year to date, relatively speaking. So if that cyclical recovery and reacceleration does start to take shape in 26, I think discretionary might be a nice place to be.
I think it depends where you are. So we're talking to a number of freight companies, a number of 4PLs, 3PLs, et cetera, that handle it. And I'm hearing consistently that volumes are down 10 to 20%. Which means the order books for retailers are down 10 to 20%. And I think you've got a bifurcated economy, which is that people that are under pressure from inflation, from housing costs, from price of food, vegetables, which the White House has now identified, that doesn't leave a lot for discretionary spending. So you take that, and I think that's about half to 2/3 of the economy. So if you take the upper end, that's probably where you want to be because they're not as pushing back. But Frank, one other important thing. I'm getting so many texts about my jacket. Some love it, some hate it. So I'd like to ask all the viewers to email Frank Holland directly. You can find his email address and just vote whether you like it or not. Thanks, Frank.
I think
please let me know the reason.
More importantly.
Wow. Did you see that coming?
Those results.
I didn't see that coming.
I did. More importantly, I fixed my tie.
You did fix your tie.
Thank you.
Of the 11 S&P sectors, when I study how momentum in each of the sectors is working as a factor, consumer discretionary is actually the one sector where we have a very low success rate. It seems as though over the last 5 years, it's been a series of fits and starts. It looks like the momentum is beginning, and then the momentum trails off, and you end up
business.
And you find yourself in a different place. Let's take Amazon and put it off to the side. Let's take Tesla and put it off to the side. I'm talking about the airlines. I'm talking about a lot of the apparel names that you've mentioned previously. The only places right now that it seems to be working is in off-price. So TJX, really good. Ross Star, really good. But then you hear from Burlington the other day, and we own Burlington, and it was awful. They're talking about warm weather impacting traffic. So it's, the warm weather is okay for TJX at Burlington, not okay. Rather, it's good for TJX and for Ross Stars, not for Burlington. So it's very, very idiosyncratic. It's very difficult to kind of establish any degree of strong momentum. We've got it right now in eBay. You have it in Las Vegas Sands. It fell apart in Ulta. It fell apart in Williams-Sonoma. Garmin was a name I talked about frequently. DoorDash was a name I talked about frequently. And the momentum is reversed there. Very, very difficult to play momentum in consumer discretionary.
We got to go, but real quickly to your point and Weiss's point, not about his jacket. Did you realize that TJX has 4 times the market cap of Target? Just kind of speaking of that shift. It's kind of a big shift in the market when it comes to retail.